Good afternoon. I'm Camilla Reeve, and I recently published this book, which is called What I Tell Myself at Night, and it's charting the year we spent after we found out my husband had cancer and before he died, and then in the bereavement after he died. And I know it's a sad subject, but it felt like a journey, and in the end, I did get through it. So I'd like to share some of those thoughts with you, starting with a poem I wrote before I knew he was ill, and it gives you a feel of what our relationship was like. It's called Bide In, and Bide In is a Scottish term for a live-in lover. Because you have been willing to stand outside on windy nights, bearing a basket of wet sheets and waiting while I hung them out. You're my shape against the passing clouds, no clearer than yours is to me, yet truly as our own reflections we know each other's silhouette. And even as you heft the basket, you tease me for not wearing shoes and risking bruises from the stones, and how I'd scold your shoelessness. We laugh about my bossiness, your lack of time for household tasks, why two such very different humans would hate to live or sleep apart. And for the sum of all these parts, and others' joys too deep to name, you are my dear abiding love, and bide within my heart. Well, as I say, he got ill, and we came back from our holiday in Croatia, and he was clearly not very well. So I said, please go to the doctor. Like a lot of men, he didn't like doing that, but he went to the doctor and then into hospital, and they told us that he had bladder cancer and that he would need chemo and radiotherapy. And this was all, as you can imagine, like being hit by a bus. And I couldn't talk to him. He didn't want to talk about it. My family didn't want to talk about it. They knew he was going to manage to get better. Everything was fine. So I poured everything I thought into my poems. And this is one of the first ones I wrote after finding out he was ill. Afternoon Rest. My darling, lie back on your old chair and have a sleep, head bending sideways like a bird at rest between one long migration and the next. Meanwhile, I let myself peer through the gate, and far enough away to see and feel what may, although I hope not, lie in wait. Let myself for a handful of brave moments, though maybe they are also foolish ones, believe in that sad future, and believing, capture a photo of you safe asleep, a picture of this time before life changes, with body and mind still functioning as one, when you can think to raise a hand and it will rise, or to restrain a cry and it stays silent. I will not share this photo with you. Don't dare to risk a chance of saying, I gazed into that maybe time before our days and circumstances forced me to. And like Lot's wife, fear I precipitated what otherwise might not have come to pass. Well, he did get more and more ill. Every time the doctors and the nurses got in touch, it was bad news. First, the cancer spread into his bones, then into his chest, and finally into his brain. And this is one of the last poems I wrote before he died. It's called Your Last Weeks. I won't forget the slow shutting down of options as cancer's blinds slide down around you, leaving me outside. Nor will I forget how words abandon you, just a few at first, swallows in the autumn flapping round your head, then more of them gathered on a wire. Your lips struggle silently, your eyes ask me why speech is being denied, as a wind, colder than before, heralds your winter. And shortly after that poem, he did die, and life became a horrible blur. I didn't know which way it was up. And again, the only thing that kept me going was somehow talking my way through it in my poetry, and the fact that I had to keep Palewell Press going. I felt I had to, and it helped to keep me steady, and the family, obviously. And this is the title poem, What I Tell Myself at Night. And if you look at the front cover, you'll see me staring at the moon. Very often there wasn't a moon. Beautiful cover by Tom Harding. But whatever it was, I was lying to myself because I couldn't bear the truth. What I tell myself at night. Everything that can happen has to happen in the day. When the school run runs, delivery men deliver, phones ring, bees hum, enough money is spent on things no one really wants to feed a small country. By day, I sometimes feel I'm making progress, although to what end I don't know. At night, when I peel back the purple bedroom curtains, it's always the same sight. The world is dark, ground wet, no light except from street lamps. The same rain falls each night, keeps shining on the tarmac, making cars' reflections shiver and traffic lights re-echo, as at night nothing new can happen. It can't have been at night when you found death, nor could it be so late a week before that, when frightened beyond thought I rushed you back to hospital. None of what people say or memory relates came overnight. It can't have done because at night nothing changes. The sky stays dark. Lorries rumble anonymously from A to B. Trees are bright whipped, wheels of twigs going nowhere. And the rain, the rain keeps on falling. And I went on feeling very, very confused. And one of the problems was that I don't have what you might call a conventional belief in God. I don't really know what I believe about religion, but I did wonder where Austen had gone. So this poem is called Whereabouts Unknown. You are with the dead, my love, maybe on the ground in Richmond Park, one with your ashes where we scattered them, in bracken, round the roots of trees, among the fallen leaves and beetle skeletons. You are with the dead, on earth, or in the spiritual ether others speak of, but I have only ever half believed in. My messages to you are one way now. However much I say, you don't reply. Despite the hiss and crackle of self-doubt, it seems essential to keep telling you about our children and the planet. And though I do not hear your answer, I send my love and sense that someone, my special someone, has been listening. Well, as the months passed, although I wasn't really looking forward to anything, I began to imagine that I might one day feel like that. And what might I want to do in the absence of the person I had planned to do everything with? And the next poem, which is a bit like a list poem, is called Go On, Fill Your Boots. Beyond the bathroom window lies our wild, wet garden, but also the wider world full of nature and people, themselves a part of nature, and hopefully adventures. I mean to fill my boots with everything I can: friends and late-night drinks, poetry events, walks in wild places, over-generous helpings of cream cakes, curry and rosé. To travel further than was planned, climb higher than I used to dare, speak up when challenged, and champion the oppressed, look out and down across new lands, or even down and out, who cares? Outside the bathroom window, on its mortared sill, a rubber pump is lying, part of the water-saving system my husband built for me while his hands still could. Hesitantly, I stroke the pump's dark surface, which for an instant feels like someone's palm, firm and slightly warm, held out to steady me. How I wish. Even while I know the winds of 7 months' winter and the hailstorm yesterday must have removed all trace, but how I wish for contact. Still, there's nothing for it. People and nature wait. I'll fill my boots. And I went on feeling a tiny bit better and then going back again into grief for several more months, until it was about 8 months after his death. And I decided to go away on holiday. So we went to Cumbria, my younger daughter and myself. And on the day of his birthday, we decided to go to the beach. And the beach we went to is called St. Bees Beach. And I'll never forget that beach. St. Bees Beach in Cumbria, visited with my younger daughter on what was once her father's birthday. Sky threatening more rain, and grey water heaving dispiritedly against a shore of steep-shelved pebbles. I'm going to start that again. St. Bees Beach in Cumbria, visited with my younger daughter on what was once her father's birthday. Sky threatening more rain, and grey water heaving dispiritedly against a shore of steep-shelved pebbles. I couldn't see the beauty of it, even though the red cliffs in the distance were said to be beloved by seabirds, and the pebbles, turning out to be so many colours, made it hard to know which ones to carry home. But still, it was a disappointment. Our special day remembering the man felt thwarted before it had begun. Unwilling to go back without at least one new-made memory, we chose to walk the first part of the coast to coast, over the little wooden bridge and up the limestone cliff. But as quite silently we trudged, tangled dune and streamside plants gave way to a glorious profusion of minute downland possums, buffeted and wrestling in the wind, pink and purple, ochre and brilliant blue, framing a maritime horizon. She and I, climbing higher still, an ebbing tide revealing golden sands, with children splashing through the shallows, and more children arriving on school buses, their tiny high-vis jerkins flowering sudden as Welsh poppies far below. Then June sun coming out, and, if only for a moment, finding myself again, feeling happy. Thank you. So that was my journey, part of my journey, and I want to thank Patrick Connane for asking me to do this feature, and I hope you enjoyed hearing about it. Bye-bye.